Welcome to the Nerds of Comedy. We are back with another Columbo. Brad is here. We are in the Push Comedy Theater for our Columbo Marathon.
It's the best. We've talked about this before. He told me we're starting to get some viewers on this, but I was like, that makes me really happy. But more happy than anything is just to talk Columbo. If there's 12 friends we meet out of this, worth it.
We've started to annoy our friends here around the theater.
Yeah.
They get sick of us talking Columbo all the
They
time.
do.
Although we're getting some converts.
You do. You James Roach, we've talked about it, a performer that performs here that's a student of ours that's like become a very good performer. He is now religiously into this and I think wants to be on an episode of this.
Okay.
Yeah, he has one he really would like to describe about us. Yeah.
We
Adam was a big fan, but no, other than that, we can't get people in. Although when I've got one that is my mother and father. We watched it down in Avon, North Carolina, and we watched the ice cream one we just did down there.
Okay. Oh, the Robert Culp one?
That would have been the last time I saw it when we did that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't count. I would assume that they were probably Columbo fans before you got it.
Well, I got to find this out, which is like so cool that now you have family generations of this. Mm-hmm. My grandfather, Bradford, who I'm named after, Bradford Russell, was very funny. Had a very funny reputation, and I wish I got to know him better. But apparently swore by Columbo and thought he was Columbo, and I'm like, well, look at this. This is a gene thing. Yes.
My mom was a big fan.
Yeah.
So I don't remember watching the original series so much with her, but I do have definite recollections of watching the Return of Columbo back in like the early 80s all the way through as like 93 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I have recollection of watching those episodes.
And, we've said this before in this thing. I run a murder mystery show he produces with me called The Unusual Suspects, where I play a different detective every month, and it's lovely. It's become one of our biggest shows where we go around the country with it. But it really got my obsession into this mystery world goes even bigger. But I was more of a Murder, She Wrote fan when I was younger and more of a whodunit favorite. So I remember seeing this when I was younger, not knowing what the F was going on. And was like, oh, I'm not really into that show. It's just too old for me.
That plus they show you the murder.
Right. I was like, I'm not interested in this. And then I found it one day, I would say about 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And it just blew my mind. And I started talking to him. And we've said this once before, but we just knew he was like, oh, yeah, what are you, stupid? I mean, like you were like, I forgot. But I think it renewed your passion for it, right? Yeah. So you went back, and then we started catching up on these episodes. And we love all of them. I mean, we even dork about the new ones, which we're going to get to one day. But it leads me into this long-winded setup for this. This episode called
A Dagger in the Mind.
A Dagger in the Mind is from the original season 2, is that right?
Yeah, season 2, episode 4.
Which season 2 is outstanding. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them are outstanding. With the exception of this episode.
This is, I would say this is the black spot on Columbo's record.
When I watched the show 24 when I was younger with Kiefer Sutherland, there were 24 episodes obviously in that in real time. 23 of them were great. There was the one where the mother got amnesia and she couldn't figure out anything, and it got so melodramatic. It was like the season 2 where they had one where the girl was getting chased by a cheetah.
Right.
And it was just so ridiculous. This is that episode for me. Yeah.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with the episode titles, this is the episode where Columbo goes to London, which you would think would be a great episode, like a total kind of fish out of water type of story.
Their etiquette versus Columbo's etiquette, right?
Yes.
Which they try to set up. They did.
They
I mean,
do.
There's some things about this I like. I do. I do. I like this better than everything else that's on TV today.
Right. It has some moments, but as a whole, just not a good episode.
we talked about it. Let's get to it. We're not going to go through the whole plot line on this, except for we'll give you the setup on this. He's going to London, and he's going to be going over there to find out about some high-tech Scotland Yard
Yeah, he's
stuff.
going to be training with Scotland Yard to get some new detective techniques and to share some of his things. Mm-hmm. And there's a murder that takes place. And husband and wife, actor and actress, accidentally kill the producer of their play.
Yes.
And then cover up the murder in a very convoluted way. They stuff him in a trunk, and they're able to get him back to his house in the countryside and make it look like he fell down the stairs.
And we have to say this because you and you're going to say you are more than me, which is not true because this guy used to do a lot of community theater. I guess would be the right way to put it. And I did. I'll never like to call it. Well, I can say I've done other theaters. I've done some other stuff.
You have,
I've done real theater, but I've done some community theater too. And this one had such a theater vibe. Like, I think that if our students watch this one, and I'm calling out Noelle Peterson right now, if you can hear me in that, one of our students.
The Ferris Bueller episode.
Yes. I'm glad we had that callback on it. She would probably dig this because it's so theatery. Like, they're doing Macbeth, of course.
Yes, they're doing
Right,
Macbeth.
I'm not even supposed to say that in this theater, but, and I know that's the kind of stuff that's in this a little bit,
Everything
right?
is so
British
over
theater.
the top.
Yes.
That nasty little Miss Dudley.
Oh, child, don't be absurd. Besides, I can handle Miss Dudley.
You try that just once, and I'll have your guts for garters.
Oh, Lily.
And what's sad is because you have really good actors
Yeah.
in this episode. So the actress is played by Honor Blackman, who was Pussy Galore in Goldfinger.
Which is just say all of that again.
Honor Blackman played Pussy Galore in Goldfinger.
You just don't get to say sentences like that often.
She was on the TV show The Avengers. She left, and then Diana Rigg took over the role.
Was that for the Hulk?
Yeah, she played the Hulk in The Avengers. Bernard Fox, who is the detective that gets paired off with Columbo. He is a kind of famous British character actor. My favorite is the butler.
Yeah, here it is.
It's something Hayden White. I can't remember. I want to say Thomas Hayden.
Get to
or
it. He's in the
Robert.
toy.
Yeah. He plays the butler in the toy.
That's all you need to know.
We could never do that movie
No.
today for the nerds of comedy, even though it was a staple when I was a kid. Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. He was in the second season, I believe, of Buck Rogers. He's a lot of great roles, great character actor.
Really is. He really is. He's understates everything. Like, even in the toy, I have visions of like the whole house is like getting demolished, and he's just stoic. Well, yes, of course, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
You know? He's great. He's a lovely actor in it, and great that all these actors are in it. But it's just the tonality of it just didn't. I'm gonna treat this like a review for a minute. Didn't work. I have this glorious thought in my head that the writers, because man, they're kicking ass with this show, and God bless them, right? Kind of were like, hey, Sherlock Holmes, here's America, Sherlock Holmes. It almost felt like that's what they were trying to do.
Right.
Because even the way they line him up at the end, and he's going to do it, and I'm like, on paper, I don't hate this. On what came out.
It seems great. Columbo in London,
Yeah.
and paired off with English Detective. It sounds great.
On in the theater where it is dramatic,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But everything is so over the top. It was almost like they were trying to do, like, we're talking about community theater. Like, they always do Ray Cooney plays, these like kind of British farces.
Run for your wife.
Yeah, Run for Your Wife. Exactly. It seems like they were trying to shove Columbo, because they're going back. So the murder happens at the theater, but they transport the body to the producer's house.
Like it looks like he fell down the stairs.
Looking like he fell down the stairs, but then they go back to the theater, then back to the house, and then back to the theater, back to the house. It's just very back and forth.
And then they
between
get
the two
into
places.
they back and forth to the two places. Not only that, these actors end up doing so many devious things by the end. It's just almost unbelievable.
Yeah, they break into a wax museum.
Yeah, that's the ending, right?
They
Yeah.
end up killing the butler. The butler finds out about their plan and is blackmailing them. And so the husband, the actor, shows up at the butler's house and overpowers them, and then makes it look like the butler hung himself. Like,
Yeah.
Just a lot of just weird stuff.
And they figured him out. He always asks me this. I'll flip it because he's done his homework more than I have this week. I hate to say, on the Columbo, even though I'll be watching him tonight, I'm sure. When did he figure it out? When did Columbo, the man, the myth,
All right,
and the
well, so
legend?
he knew something was up. So Columbo gets to London, and they're on their way to Scotland Yard, but the detective has to swing by the producer's house because it's his wife's uncle, and there was an accident, and he needs to go.
And just keep in mind for the comedic aspect, great part of writing again. I love that the character, of course, his luggage is lost.
Yeah, so there's like a good 5-minute scene of Columbo going around baggage claim looking for his luggage, and there is a police sergeant there who is tasked with bringing Columbo to this detective that he's going to be paired off with, but is looking for some like dashing American detective, like
Yes.
probably like Tom Selleck or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes, yes.
And doesn't realize that this little short man that is rifling through other people's bags and stuff is the guy that he's looking for.
Yeah.
But so they get to the manor. They've already taken away the body, and Columbo, just being Columbo, just starts wandering around the house and goes up to the study where it's made to look like the producer was reading a book, a first edition of
Alice in
in
Wonderland.
Wonderland. Set the book down and then went downstairs to get something, and tripped and fell down the stairs and broke his neck. That's what they
Yeah.
want you to believe. But the first thing that he notices is that you have this first edition book worth thousands and thousands of dollars. The guy has an immaculate library full
Yeah.
of books, and it's placed open face down, which would break the spine if done enough.
You see, back home, we call this the spine of the book, and you know you can break that thing by putting it down upside down like that. Of course, I never knew that until I did it to my mother-in-law's cookbook. She almost hit me with a frying pan.
Yeah, and just to let you know, I don't want him to lose his train of thought, but this is something that we discussed off camera that we're going to discuss a little bit on camera, how we treat books. Now, I lost everything, as y'all know, in the fire episode. I lost most everything in that fire, but before then, we had books that we went back and forth with that I had borrowed or stolen or given to you and retaken back.
Right.
But did they ever return to you?
Never.
A, did they ever return? But
A,
B,
They returned to me. They were always in way worse wear
Right.
than they were. I'm the type of guy that when I'm reading a book, I take the dust jacket off because I don't want the dust jacket
yeah,
to get
you're
messed up.
meticulous with your reading.
Yeah,
Yes.
very meticulous. I remember like you gave me the John Belushi book
Yeah.
as a present one year for my birthday.
It's
and
a
then,
beautiful one, big one.
Yeah.
I stole it from Barnes & Noble
Yeah,
when I worked there.
And
yeah.
then you gave it to me, and then by the time my party was over, you'd already stolen it back.
I did. I got to reading it at your party because I hadn't really read it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't want to give this to him anymore.
Yeah. So, and then we were hanging out at your house one night, and I saw it, so then I stole it back from you. But the dust jacket had all gotten ripped up and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
still have it, though. I still have
Yeah, I
it.
know you do. I'll find it again.
And then the Del Close book was another one I lent you, and I never got that back.
That one's not. You're not going to see that one again. That's in flames. But
Did that even make it to your apartment, or was that at your ex-girlfriend's house?
so when he found the
Okay.
jacket
Move on.
with the Alice in Wonderland part, what did he know? What did we think Columbo
Yeah,
noticed?
so that was clue number one. Now, this is cluing him in that there's a murder that's taken place. He doesn't have any suspects. Right now, everybody believes the guy just tripped and fell down the stairs, but this is suspicious. And then he asks about the glasses.
Yeah.
Did he have reading glasses? And the butler says, yes, he did. He would always put them in his smoking jacket pocket. And so Columbo goes to the bottom of the stairs and is looking around, and there are no little shards of glass. If he tumbled all the way down these stairs with the glasses in his pocket,
Right.
they would have been broken and smashed up, but he can't find anything. So he convinces the detective to at least look into it. The detective's
Yes.
not 100% certain.
No, he thinks he's kind of he's a little, well, it's Columbo.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about if this guy came to your cocktail party, you're going to have a weird interaction with him. He's a weird guy, but he's nice. He's just
Yes.
weird.
Like they're driving before he
Very
even
curious.
gets to the detective. He makes the sergeant pull over so he can run out and take a picture
At
of
Buckingham.
The Bobby's at Buckingham Palace.
Yes,
So-
yes. I'm glad you said that. And may I also say, I have a suspicion. We're writers. We don't write anything as nearly as beautiful as these guys wrote, unfortunately. We write a lot of parodies and off-Broadway stuff, which we need to talk to our producer about out there. I'll talk to you about that off camera some other time. But the writers in this, I am a son of a grammar and literature teacher. I could tell by the names in this that they wanted to be very British. Remember the Sir Roger Haversham?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, okay, you read a Dickens book, and you wanted to make sure that the Miss Haversham's house, because their rich is in there, and some other little Easter eggs in it that you could feel like the writers were like, we know Britain because we read Charles Dickens or something,
Right.
you know? Yeah, it was.
Like I said, there was nothing. Almost like there was no baseline reality.
Overacting as hell. Just
Yeah.
these dramatic acting moments.
They go from the house, they go to the manor, they go to the theater, because that's where they are having the service for this producer. And Columbo and the detective get there, and the actress is just putting on this display.
Stage
Completely
acting it up.
over the top. Yes.
Hamming. And they bring up hamming in there, yeah.
So where does Columbo latch on then to these two actors, this husband
You
and
know,
wife?
okay, I've got some things. They're very affected by their performances in this. And that he saw the hubris of them. And that they fell in love with themselves. And in my opinion, I think he saw, and you're going to get probably on the more detailed side of some things he saw with the umbrella and stuff. Right. But I really see it to where he felt that they were always putting on an act.
You know, when my wife and I try to remember what happened yesterday or the day before, well, we don't agree on anything. And you two, you not only agree, you use almost the exact same words to tell about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that he was on to that part. Like you said, is this, Columbo's not used to that kind of melodrama.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the few scenes I actually do like, the detective takes Columbo to his gentleman's club.
No, yes.
And it's not like an American gentleman's club. This is like where, all these English lords hang out and whatnot. And they're meeting the coroner who's going to bring the autopsy reports. And Columbo hasn't eaten all day. So
What's the club that Sherlock Holmes' brother hangs out at? Diogenes,
yeah.
whatever that is. It feels like that kind of thing a little
Exactly.
bit. Yeah.
So the coroner meets them there with the autopsy reports, and the coroner hands him the autopsy photos to hand over to the detective.
Yeah.
And you just see like all the color drain out of his face, and he's just trying to like pass it on without looking. Like I said, a really kind of cool bit of physical comedy from Falk.
Well, he's the man. I mean, he's the man. But again, this show. Apologies, Columbo. You're the man, and everybody has. You get to have these things, especially when you're the man like this. But this one was a stinker. They ended up going back and breaking into this. Well, you can get into Umbrella now, I guess. Is it?
So the producer, when he was killed, he and the actor got into a fight. The actress threw her bottle or a jar of cold cream to kind of break him up and accidentally hit him and killed him.
Yeah. They said a 1 in a million shot just took him down.
And they stuffed him in the
Which
trunk.
could have been self-defense.
It could have been self-defense.
As a matter of fact, you have to think about this, is that except for their egos, back to that again, the show must go on.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a performance. It was their final dress rehearsal.
Is that? I've forgotten
Yeah,
that.
so it
Yeah.
was their final dress rehearsal.
Wow.
And the curtain was going up, so they didn't. So they, instead of like saying, "Hey, there's been an accident back here," they're like, "Well, let's go ahead and we'll do the
performance,
play.
yeah.
We'll do the performance, and then we'll worry about this." So they stuff him in a trunk, and while they're there, one of the stagehands,
Yeah.
who I can't remember the actor's name, but he was one of the Lost Boys in Hook, the Robin Williams Hook, who lost his memory, and he was the cemetery caretaker in Halloween.
Okay. Yeah. We were talking about it.
Yeah, also a really good character actor. But he's fixing the radiator, and she's like, no, don't worry about it. Shoo, get out. But he accidentally takes the producer's
Haversham's. Yeah. Sir
Haversham's
Roger.
umbrella and leaves his. And Sir Roger's umbrella has like monogrammed and stuff like that. So if he notices that he has Sir Roger's umbrella, then they're going to know that Sir Roger was at the theater.
Right.
And that blows
It
their
places him there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
places him there. So I'm not going to get too deep into it because the problem with this episode is that it's so convoluted.
It's absurd.
You had, exactly, I think that's a great word for it. You had the book. At one point in time, they try to set it up that a very valuable book is missing from the manor. So that was the murder, the motive for the murder. You have them.
They try to outwit him. They do try to outwit him, but it's always so dramatic. And they do a pretty good job on one piece of that.
There's one moment where Columbo is kind of confounded. Like, he thinks he has them dead to rights.
Yeah.
It has to do with the umbrella.
Yes.
The actor is able to switch Sir Roger's umbrella with the stagehands. They race to the manor to try to put it with Sir Roger's things, only to find out that all of Sir Roger's belongings have been sent to a wax museum.
Because he's about to be waxed. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, he's only been dead, 2 days?
Right.
Like,
It's a bizarre. You can tell again. These writers wanted to now do the, what is it? Tussauds Wax Museum. I don't know if that's
very
one of those over there.
London. Like, there are wax museums all over London. Like, who knows? So then they had to break into the wax museum to switch out the umbrellas.
And they do it.
They do it. And it's the one time where Columbo gets the detective out of bed at the middle of the night. They go to the wax museum, and he's like, you'll see, if you check the umbrella, you'll see it's not Sir Roger's.
Yep.
And the butler is there with them. They get the butler out of bed. He's like, no, this is Sir Roger's.
Yep.
And just this look of utter confusion on Columbo's face. One of the few times where he's wrong, although he's not wrong.
He has
right.
one little bit of hope in that is that the window was open. Somebody could have burglarized it.
Exactly. Yeah. But now, like you said, the detective is looking at Columbo like he's
a buffoon. It's similar to what they do in the shows in the colonies.
Yeah.
Is they certainly give him his moment where he's underestimated.
Yeah.
And he has to overcome that.
There are some great moments. There's a little montage moments of Columbo around London taking pictures of things.
For his wife. And it was the part I'm so glad you brought up. In the last episode, I sort of stole a moment he wanted to do, but he didn't know this one tonight. That's the one thing I didn't remember about even watching it then. I got fortunate enough, 20 years ago this week, I graduated from college, and I got to go to London when I was done with college to go over there, and I enjoyed it immensely. But what I remember about this episode, it was the sightseeing.
Yeah.
But what's so adorable about it is he's stopping constantly to get shots of it for his wife.
Right.
On a camera to where I don't think that Columbo's going to have the best, and he only has one eye, the best eye for things.
Yeah, he even says that he's not 100% sure he knows how to use the
camera. Right.
There's one great scene.
Oh, that's terrific. Thing that old, it's only a minute smoke.
Really? We must put another penny on the governor.
He insults their clock. So I liked those moments.
Yeah, I did, and again, just over dramatic. Not the best, but a part of the series you can tell they want to have fun. I liking it to a little bit of Murder, She Wrote with the Magnum PI, where it's like, let's just put them together.
Yeah,
let's see what happens. And this one, it was like, let's go ahead and put him in, in Sherlock Holmes's London, even though it was, obviously of the times, which that was interesting too to watch the 70s.
So we talk about it's a trope in comedy, a fish out of water, which this very much is. I think the problem with it is that Columbo's already a fish out of water. He's always going up against these high-powered, rich individuals. They always underestimate him.
Yeah.
So it's we call it putting a hat on a hat. So you're taking a fish out of water and putting him into another situation where now he's even more of a fish out of water, and it just doesn't work.
Well, and I like also, though, if I can say to you, another criticism on that is you get him to London, great, good work. We're in a place now where their culture is much bigger. We have all the etiquette that's bigger. But you're going to make him go after actors?
Yeah.
You almost want it to be royalty.
Kind of. Or
right? I mean, I want to see him in Buckingham Palace or somewhere where there is real etiquette that he can break, like Three Stooges style.
Right. Or go dark with it. He goes after the second coming of Jack the Ripper.
Right. Well, which they wrote the books about.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, there is
there's
there is a
series of
Columbo,
books, which
yeah.
our friend James turned us on to.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to find any of them yet.
We got to find these books. I hear they're ridiculous. I think he hunts down the Manson killers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's L.A.
It's Columbo solving like famous historical crimes or something.
This sounds. By the way, this already sounds better than this episode was.
Yeah,
this
again.
was a stinker. But please understand, if you're watching this, we're gonna do one other big one, and we can spoil on this one.
Yeah, this one.
Is this all right to spoil? I think most people that watch the Columbos can, if you try to look at the ranks on them, most people would agree with us. I think on this, I really do. The one in the what I call the New Year's, anything that was like 90s and above kind of thing. When Miss Columbo is
Yeah, it's what the death of Mrs. Columbo.
it
or the
is
murder of
the
Mrs.
worst.
Columbo?
That is going to be considered the worst episode we're going to watch. But watch me on this. I have a shocking thing for my Columbo friend here. I'm putting this one worse than that one because that one at least had comedic value to me.
It did.
This one
I'm
got on
not
my
sure
nerves
if
a little
it was
bit.
intentional. But
No, I didn't say that. But it was just so bad. Remember the peaches? We'll get to it when we
yeah,
get to
we'll
it.
get to
Yes.
it. It's a doozy.
Yeah.
Now I will say, again, eventually we want to do all of these. We need to probably step up our timetable a little bit. These once every 3 or 4 months is not cutting it for our fans.
Well, or maybe we'll be doing this until like 2035,
Right.
but who knows?
You're not going to live that long.
Well, it's been a year.
It has been. But the newer seasons or the later episodes kind of get a bad rap, but I've enjoyed them immensely.
We're gonna get into one
Couple
coming
weird
up.
ones, but fun.
No, we're definitely gonna do it. There have been some ones I really enjoyed. As a matter of fact, I can make the argument his last one that had the guy from the Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the lead actor's name in that plays in it. I think it's phenomenal, and it was it was into the 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all the way up to like 2002, 2003
Yeah.
that it ran. Which you think about it is
insane. Yeah, insane. But there are a couple ones in there that are really quite good that I think have gotten a bad rap over the years. However, there are some bad ones in there too.
Yeah.
The one we really liked when Columbo went to college.
That's great.
That's
That's
a
another Robert
really
Culp.
fun one. Yeah, it is that's his weirdest one.
Yeah, because he just has such a minor part. It's almost like a cameo.
Yeah. Guys, I love Columbo. If you love Columbo too, please write into us. Do whatever you want. But more importantly, if you disagree with us on this, Noel Peterson, I'm talking to you. If you disagree with us and you think this is a really good Columbo episode, I'd love for you to write us so we can fight about that.
Yeah, Noel, if you're watching, I will actually give you the episode, a copy of the episode to watch, and then you come back to us. But it is so douchey actory.
I love that that's what you are to us, Noel Peterson.
No, you're not
Douchey
douchey actory. But this episode is so douchey actory.
Check it out. Tell me what you think about it. Columbo time. Sean, take us out.
Just one more thing.
One more thing.